not really living our life, but simply performing. What if we just go through the motions every day? Waking up, preparing for work, going through traffic, and submitting assignments, but not actually living a full life. What? Seriously? Okay. Living without being alive? What is this nonsense, Miss Madu? Well, welcome, my fascinating Renaissance friends, to episode 217. Why did I ever start, the statement like that? Oh, I was just really thinking, yeah, we could be living, but maybe we are simply performing what is expected of us. There are, there is a world of difference between really living and simply performing. Alright, what do I mean by that? Okay, let's just see. Performing is going through the motions, that we are programmed to do. What is that? Okay, our parents tell us these messages. Be a good boy or girl so that you get the people who like you. Right? Go to school and study very hard, get good grades. You graduate, okay, with honors, the better, but you graduate. You find, a stable job, really a stable job that pays well. Then you start a family. Start a family, okay? And you raise your kids and make sure that they have a good future. And in the process, you get promoted from this level to that level, and maybe someday the top of the ladder. And then you have a wonderful, not wonderful, yeah, you have a wonderful pension plan and a lot of money in the bank, and then you retire. Okay, at 60 or 65, or if you're lucky at age 55, after, saving the amount of money you want, then you retire. Then what? Well, then you can start living. Okay, you can start doing what you want, all of this. So, really? So we start living? Really, really, really living? At 60? So what have we been doing? Performing. Okay, how about living? What is so different about that? Okay, living is making meaning, creating goodness. How will the next generation benefit from what I'm doing? Living a legacy, creating, innovating, and fulfilling my purpose, right? And then changing the future. Changing the future, or making sure that the present, that the future will be better than the present. Okay. So there's this author that I just recently discovered, very, 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 very recent. Her name is, let me see. Okay, Sharon Blackie. Yeah. I think she's Irish, if not British. If that's Scottish, I think it's the UK. Sharon Blackie, she is an author. She wrote two wonderful books, Hagitude, not attitude, Hagitude. Yeah, I'll tell you what it's Hagitude from two words. Hag means witch, and then tude means attitude. So you have Hagitude. And her latest book is The Art of Enchantment. I like that. What did she say? She was interviewed, okay, and her niche is the same as my niche. And that would be what? Okay, elder women or aging humans. Okay, we can say that. So she began the interview with this, and I will read. At 60, I wasn't ready to give up. I was just starting. I was about to say, yes, yes, girl, go for it, because it's exactly what this channel is all about. At 60, she said, I am not ready to give up life. That means retire. Okay, I was just starting. That's the that's our the hypothesis. This is the hypothesis, or that's what we believe, right? That the autumn of life that begins at 60 and beyond can still be the best season of life, right? And then she continued, and this is really what struck. And she said, to change the world. I just said, to change the world. We women, I would say, we people, we aging people, maybe, because she's writing for women, need first to change ourselves. Ah, of course. And then we need to change the stories, the narratives we tell ourselves. Yes, in the same old adage that you cannot give what you do not have, how can you change the world to be a better place? If you don't change, the way we were, the limited way that we were raised up, and we have to start with ourselves. And the first step to change is really the stories we tell ourselves. Okay, the things that we tell ourselves. Okay, and then, of course, it says, well, if you were programmed to be this and programmed to be that, but you're not like that, and then, find out and curate your authentic self, who you really are, aside from these messages, aside from what your parents told you and molded you to be. I'm not saying it's bad, but what I'm trying to say is, if it's the same as the kind of life you want, fine. But if you want another kind of life, then that's totally different. And then somebody in the chat group wrote this, and I thought that it was funny, but at the same time, it was sad. How can be funny and sad at the same time? We'll talk about that. She said, it turns out being yourself in quotation marks, she said, doesn't mean everyone likes you. It means you like you. I know. Okay, I know. Plot twist. That's what she said. I guess what she was trying to say is, if we become the kind of person we want to be, that everybody will like us. In fact, some anecdotal evidence says that maybe we will lose our friends because they do not like the new us. They want the old us, meaning somebody that they can I don't know. Okay, I don't want to be negative about this. Okay, so sabi niya, it took me longer than I'd admit to understand that these were actually two different things. Okay, so that was funny. Okay, so talking about changing ourselves, what are we afraid of really? Change is not something that people say, oh yeah, I'd like to change. It's very, very fearful. I know. I am a change management consultant, changing the way people, work, because the enterprise needs to pivot because of AI and things like that. I know what resistance means. Okay, so I guess number one, there's failure. People, okay, telling us failure. Like, go back to what we're talking, not the organization. I guess we're afraid of failure. So people telling us, you don't have any more what it takes. It's too late, you're 60, what else can you do? You just stick it out, with a message and with the life that you have. After all, you have the money, you have the pension, etc., etc. Fine. If that's what you want, and you're happy, then that's your resonance life. But if it's not, what do we do? Okay. Worst thing, that if we start trying to do great things at this age, people will even negate us. Like, that is just, for the first few months. They cannot sustain that, because they don't have the power, and the strength, to do that. Okay, so let me just tell you what this message says. Okay, let me read it. A person who had been destroyed 1,000 ways knows 1,000 ways to rebuild themselves, or himself or herself. A person who has been destroyed 1,000 ways knows how to rebuild. Okay, knows 1,000 ways to rebuild himself or herself. Okay, so where do we proceed from here, my fascinating Renaissance friends? No man ever steps in the same river twice. Remember, for it is not the same river, nor is it the same man. We are not the same man or woman. We can change the world. Okay? Right, so let's continue the discussion, the conversation, and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.